Welcome back to another tutorial. A couple of small things here. What you're seeing on the screen is from the official Hunt Royale Discord. You can add the announcements to your own Discord channel. It'll show you the layout of the map. So this is what I'm using for this run. I intentionally have built a lower gear score build just to show you how to complete this with lower builds. So you're very vulnerable when you first start out because those stones, yes, they're going to help you, but they'll do more as you level up. So choosing something with Lifesteal and Death Strike will definitely help you in these earlier stages just to get those first few levels up. The original recording was 38 minutes, so I have sped this video up to 2 times just so we can get through it. So I'm not going to pull the whole room, I'm just working my way through here. As you see, the Lifesteal is keeping me alive. The characters I choose might not be what's best for you because obviously I have more awakenings and higher level characters. It's not a specific list that you have to follow. Everyone does Insane Maze their own way. They have their own favourite characters that they've leveled up and they prefer to play. But pretty much the basis remains of in the first 4, because obviously the 5th level is the boss fight. 5, 10, 15 and 20, you're going to have to fight the boss in Insane. So just to get these first few levels up, we're just going to go through and pick them off with the Death Strike just to help get a little bit more bulky and a little bit more survivability. So we're just tapping away here, pulling them back, few at a time, nothing too insane. If you are just starting out for the first time in Insane and you don't really have any gear, you might only be just able to do maze. It will be harder and don't expect to complete it straight away. This game isn't something that you're going to complete in 2 weeks. I've been playing for over a year now and I've still got about half my awakenings to do and there's so much. The grind is real, so just take it at your own pace. Don't rush yourself. It'll come in time. So if you are just starting out, you might only make it to the first few waves, but even that, any chest you open along the way is another power stone, hopefully, or a bit of gear that you can then use to get that little bit stronger. So for this run, my gear score I think is just over 3,000, so I've kept it reasonably low. My main gear score that I run on my main builds are over 8k and full mythic, so this is definitely no glow, make it a bit slower for me just to show people how to do it on these lower gear score runs. So again, I've got an Elf Archer here. I'm not doing anything too crazy and where I can ricochet. I'm just pulling it around, and as you can see with the blues that I've got there, the tentacles are working with the poison. And I can walk back, and as those mobs walk into those tentacles, it's just going to keep hurting them. And I can just keep moving back, kiting away, picking them off. And this is definitely how you want to start out. Don't do anything too crazy too early if you're not too geared. Take your time. So I'm just going to explore everything here. Some people do follow the maze guides that I posted at the very start, the map. And they might just do the quick battle rooms and leave everything else closed. I prefer to open everything up. That's just my own OCD. But with those maps, you'll see the green is go where that's where you're going to enter the dungeon. You've got the cross swords there, your battle rooms. It shows you where the exit are, where chests will be, where the keys are, so you can really plan your route if you are struggling. And that will help out a little bit as well. So again, with all these weaker ones here, just pulling them back in a line, letting the tentacles do their thing, moving around. If you keep moving, it definitely helps instead of just being a tank, taking all those hits while you are a bit weaker. So Engineer, in my opinion, is a great wave 5 just because he's got reflect, damage reduction, regeneration. He's got a lot to keep him alive here. And now that we're getting a couple of levels here, we're level 6, I have quite a bit more survivability with the gems. So I'll go straight into the boss here. I can move backwards and forwards. I have posted in a slower video on the hard maze guide how to dodge those attacks. Just moving left and right, you can time him. But with the way my engine is built, I can just sit here and tank it and keep healed. I did move back when he unleashed souls, just so I didn't take multiple beams at once, because that can hurt and be fatal. So for the rest of it, as you can see, Engineer's great. Everything just attacks me and dies with my reflect. And all that regeneration, along with my stones, are keeping me alive. So we'll quickly finish off this floor and move on. And again, I know lots of other people might use different things for 5. Some people like to use, so on the bosses, some of the good ones are, in my opinion, Phantom, Ancient One, Engineer, Necromancer can be pretty useful as well. Mad Doctor, I always finish with Turtle on 20 just because he's super strong. And if you are using something like Spider Queen or Ancient One, it is up to luck. You might not always get the best abilities, but if you ever offer them, always make sure you're taking the multi-shot. Because that, with your tentacles and extra poison, is just going to help you out that little bit more. So I'm just making my way through. Again, nothing too crazy. I am only level 7 here. So we're just going to take it slow, pull them out, and keep chipping away. Even though I probably can tank quite a few of the hits, especially with the increased tornadoes where they're stacking. That's going to give me quite a few heals with my tentacles. So again, you don't need to just straight up tank. Keeping moving will help a lot. It lets those tentacles and your damage keep healing you with that purple stone. If you've got one on your sword or ring, that's an essential. I mean, if you just keep moving around, you should keep healed. So this run, as I said, did take quite a long time because I did drop the gear score right back down, and it's been quite a time since I have done Insane. I don't really need it anymore. So this is quite a slower run, and that's okay. If you're just starting out, if it does take you 25 minutes, half an hour, that's fine. Especially if you're using multiple tickets at once, just take your time because Insane Maze will be your absolute best form of getting those early maze gems and stones and some early gear to get you started to help you out in going to actual maze. Definitely helps build it up. But once you are at the point where you have finished all your stone builds, I mean, you can knock it back to hard maze, and that's a great way to get extra cards as well going for awakenings. So things like Ricochet, so you can hit multiple at once. Now that I'm a bit stronger, I might start attacking a few more at once here, just to start speeding things up, because we do have those bit of levels, that bit of damage, and a lot more survivability. So all the mobs will pretty much stay the same until you hit wave 15. Once you beat that 15 boss, then you'll be finishing off the last 5 waves on the harder mobs, and this will be the same in the maze dungeon as well. Once you get to that point, you finish off with the harder monsters. I know some people also don't bother killing all the rooms. They might skip quite a lot with those maps. However, I like to take every bit of experience, especially if you're starting out. Every level you get will help out, especially in those later waves. So Vlad, in my opinion, is a great wave 10, just because of his vampiric drain. He does quite a lot of healing. It might not be the fastest to kill the boss, but he's just easy to stay alive. So if you get the extra vampiric touch, definitely take it. As you can see, my Vlad here isn't awakened. So that's not an essential for beating this wave with him. Just having a bit of Ricochet, if you can get it. The vampiric drain is just incredible. You'll just stay alive, and as you can see here, we're just going to sit back a little bit. So if he does unleash souls, we're not going to eat every beam, and I don't even have to move. So it will be a bit of a slow fight yet again, because it is an awakened. I haven't got a lot of demon packs here. It is luck of a draw when it comes to abilities. However, you can see that poison stack keeps ticking up. So as long as we keep the tentacles on and keep that ticking, even though he's going to heal a few times and get some health back, that's okay, because that poison is slowly going to be doing more and more. So the higher the stack, the more it's going to do. So we're just going to keep chipping away here, and as you get stronger characters and more gear, there's 100% faster ways to be doing this. However, if you are starting out, this is a great way to survive. If you are struggling on the wave 5 boss and you are just starting, then you can even use Vlad on wave 5 just to get you that little bit of extra gear and a couple of extra chests. And don't be disheartened if you aren't beating it straight away, because again, each time you do it, you are getting the extra mage gems, you are getting the extra power stones drop, and that's all slowly increasing your strength to make you stronger and make it easier in the long run. So we're just going to finish off the floor. Now we're on to 11. By this point, we're pretty strong with our stone build. So we can pretty much start killing a lot more at once and speeding up the run. If you are still struggling and having issues staying alive, then there's no problem slowing it down. But if you are starting to get a bit more confident, then for sure go for it. Also, pay attention to the way that all the mobs attack, because the AI is already saying they don't change much. They always attack the same way. So they are quite predictable, and if you pay attention to that, you can start dodging a lot of the hits if you need to. And again, with the tentacles, with those blue stones in your sword or ring, that's really going to help, because you can just keep running mobs straight back through those tentacles, and that will just keep hitting everything. So the mobs on the last 5 are a bit tougher, but Death Strike in these 11 to 14 can really speed things up as well and just make it that little bit quicker just to get through to wave 15. And again, you might not have all these characters yet, and that's fine. There's plenty of other choices you can go, and just feel it out for yourself, because what I can run insane with and what I choose to use is fine, and I can beat it no worries at all. However, my housemate, for instance, uses a completely different set of characters and has the same result. So it is a matter of preference and what works for you, and the more you play, the more you will get the feel of what works where and what you think is strong. Ninja is a pretty strong character all around. He's definitely one that can also be used to quickly burn the boss. If you don't want to do the wave 10 with Vlad and it's taken a bit long, Ninja is a good alternative. Take a couple of extra dodges to help with that survivability. And then with a few demon packs, those attacks that keep building up with him will just get stronger and stronger, and it can actually make it quite a quick fight. Plague Doctor is another easy one. Just run around, kite them all. Makes it a really quick wave. As you are getting a bit stronger and you are more confident using other things than the first 5 and don't need as much Death Strike, I often use, when I use my own personal gear on this, I'll use Grim Reaper in these 11 to 15 as well, just with the Death Strikes that you get at this level. It can make it really quickly. You can run in and pretty much one hit a room. So Ancient One is quite a strong character in my opinion. Not everyone likes using him on the boss. I just absolutely love him. And if you are using one of these damage characters, it's a bit harder while it's sped up, but you can see I can do that left to right strategy. So I've got the tentacles building up the poison. I'm moving back now. He's summoned to clear them. And while he's doing those beams, I can move left, right, left, right, left, right. I'll stay healed. I'm not taking too many shots. That'll definitely help with surviving. When he is unleashing, don't be right in front of him. Just make sure that you move back and leave him more on the edge of the circle, just so you're only taking one beam at once and you're not being hit by multiple. If you do want to practice when he is unleashing souls, just as he releases it, you can do a very quick flick to the left or right, and you can actually dodge those beams altogether. So again, it's not the absolute fastest, but as this poison ticks up, it's just going to keep doing more and more, so it doesn't matter that he heals here. We're just going to stick with it, stick with the grind. And as those poison stack keeps up, that's the main thing. Just make sure you're keeping that poison stack on, even if you need to move backwards around the corner. If you're taking a few too many shots, just make sure that that doesn't drop. So poison, I believe, lasts for 4 ticks. So that's 4 lots of damage before it'll drop off. So now we're past 15. The next floors we're going to go to are going to have those slightly harder mobs that we talked about. And to help with that, characters like Beetle can be good that have that bit more health pool. Just make it a bit easier to run through, smack them down, and make sure you're staying alive, because at the start, some of those larger monsters can be quite nasty and do quite a bit of damage. Or you can keep, again, as we've been talking about, drag them through the tentacles, attack them, keep walking them back, kiting them. And it might take a little bit longer, but using the manual dodge and kiting monsters around can really help how you survive, and especially in the higher dungeons. As you can see, Beetle's easy, just run through the room and he just stays full health. He's got quite a lot of health. The floor after a boss always seems to be pretty light. There never seems to be much in them, so also keep that in mind. I'm just going to run through with Skullmaster here. Again, while I stand still with the attack speed, I will burn them really quick, but I will be taking those hits. So moving backwards and forwards, moving around, just makes them drop while I'm staying full healed. And if you ever do come out with a few extra hits and you aren't on full health, do remember that you do have the healing altars around in the dungeon. With a bit of practice, you won't need to use them, but they are there. The other thing to consider as well is where the level up altars are in some of these dungeons. So you might be just about to level up if you come across one. If that's the case, go and check if there's another monster room first to try and get that level, and then use the altar after that, so that you're using it to its maximum potential. It won't always work out that way, but it can be a great advantage. So I would have liked a bit more distance here, but Zeus is great. If you get quite a bit of distance, and especially higher voltage, you can often just take out the whole room at once. And I have him start Deathstrike as well as a couple of others, which won't work on the bigger boys, but it helps just clear out all the little stuff, the Scythe Mages and the Lizards around. And then I'll just keep moving, kiting these guys, and the Tentacles will do their job. So I'm going to use Mad Doctor here, just because, again, I can build quite a bit of distance, and with the Reflect, I won't have to move much. It's more being lazy. And it's a matter of choice or preference. A lot of people will still use Mad Doctor on the boss, and that's completely fine to do. I prefer Turtle for 20, and rather than use Mad Doctor nowhere, I just find he's a really easy wave 19. Because again, you can just sit here and just shoot over the walls, really easily clear out those last few rooms. So there's that altar that we're talking about there. So I'm going to see if I can level up before I use it, rather than having a battle room already under my belt. I'm at almost halfway XP. I'll see if I can level up first, and then when I'm just leveled, I'll go and use that altar and see if I can't get an extra level out of it. So higher the level you are, it'll definitely help with that last boss, especially if you are starting out and you are struggling. The more levels you can get, the better. So taking more XP along the way will always be beneficial. Make sure you also take enough skills to stay alive and do the damage to kill the mobs. But yeah, taking a few extra XPs if you see them along the way will definitely make a huge difference. Right, so I found another room up here, so I'll clear this, get level 18, and then I'll go down to that altar and immediately get 19 afterwards. So there we go, just so we can get the quick double level there before moving on. Turtle is one of the most busted characters in the game. If you can make it to 20 and you have Turtle, it should be an easy win. Taking a couple of regens to help stay alive, making sure you take that Reflect and the Turtle power. And the Turtle power, just, yeah, if you don't get it, you might just have to get a little bit more stack, which you'll see is you're attacking the boss or even the minions. So we'll see here as we attack it, there's a little turtle symbol that comes up. So I've got a bit of turtle power on. Now that I've got some poison, that's all you do. Stop attacking, run around, let the boss hit you, and the Reflect will just insta-drop it. It's one of the easiest waves you can do. Mummy's another one that can be quite strong, so I'm just going to finish this off before I leave, just in case there is extra mage gems like that. And every fight room you do complete gives you those extra couple of mage gems, which when you are starting out, obviously you're going to need quite a few for Power Stone upgrades, for gear purchases from a large chest, so there is quite a lot happening.